Welcome everyone to our studio and our next Thinking Photography tutorial. Like all tutorials, this is an opportunity to clarify, to revise and extend your understanding and application of what you're studying with us, while at the same time providing that ongoing support for all of your creative endeavours. Now, as we said in our reminder email, thinking photography, it's about being more informed, more assured, more articulate, and therefore more confident in turning our understandings, our cares and concerns into works of art. So let's have a look at today's questions that have come in recent weeks from participants in this particular course, where the most referenced topic has been this comparison between, for want of a better description, what we call contextual thinking and material thinking. And this first question, which I've taken from a recent conversation, this notion that in contemporary art there's so often an overwhelming emphasis on what the work means, and therefore how it fits into and contributes to contexts broader than just our own. But my friend was saying, that's all very well. I don't have any troubles now, in part thanks to this course, citing my work in those discourses, those undertakings within our culture that I find myself drawn to intellectually, emotionally, and so on. I can quite easily see the contribution I'm making, but they're still not as confident, as assured about how to equally think, equally position, equally articulate the process of creation of those works that then go outwards from the works into these other areas. The other questions are more or less variations on the theme, distinctions, for example, between illustrative and evocative that we've gone over in recent tutorials in various ways. Phenomenological distinctions such as the unexpected versus a welcome surprise, how we think of and configure these reckonings within our own understanding, and various other attributes, even all the way back to last week's tutorial on different colour models and distinctions, for example, between cleaning colours up in the process of creation versus enhanced colour variability, and what we might then describe as a metaphysical distinction between those undertakings rather than just describing them in terms of their physical properties. So here's our first critical distinction, a slideshow from our Knowing and Loving Your Camera short course that we ran for all those years at the Centre for Contemporary Photography here in Melbourne, asking a simple question: what sort of a photographer are you? And we went through all manner of different juxtapositions in terms of content or perspective, wide angle, zone focusing, manual focusing, exposure priorities, and so on. Depth of field goes on, as you can see. And the distinction here is that these are largely framed through technological considerations and their implied priority in your photography. The problem is, what that priority is, it's only defined by a genre or a referent, what's in front of the lens. For example, I'm a portrait photographer, or I use a wide-angle lens with great depth of field in the landscape. So how do we go beyond those, you might call them traditional distinctions, f-stops, shutter speeds, and the like? Here, at least from our point of view, we conceive of this thing we call thinking photography as exploring other ways of thinking about our photography and about photography in general. And it encompasses, at least for us, two domains: contextual thinking and material thinking. Now, contextual thinking tends to explain a work by referencing something outside the work, where its meaning is derived from illustrating what it depicts, what it signifies, or how it confirms a pre-existing idea that is external to the work itself. That is a critical distinction. Now, on the other hand, material thinking is generated from within the work itself. It focuses on the work's presence, those material distinctions and felt effects. So meaning, in this case, emerges through the act of making rather than being merely assigned to it. Now, at the moment, we're just thinking about these distinctions from our individual engagement with what we're doing and looking to explore other ways of thinking about photography, our photography and photography in general. On the other hand, that external referencing points to our critics and our theorists. They're interested in communicating ideas about things, but they remain outsiders, interpreters trying to make sense of our creative process and on the basis of the outcome, the work on the wall, the page in the book. They're not trained in the things we're trained to do. Their world is about assigning meaning to what we're doing. On the other hand, we often feel tongue-tied, knowing that what we make cannot always be put into words. How common a feeling is this? We find our creative research dumbed down all too often, and our cultural and social function is continuously being undermined. With that preamble, let's dig a little deeper. Instead of what sort of a photographer are you, let's think about what sort of a photographer do you want to be, with the emphasis on not what am I doing, but thinking about what I am going to do. Now, of course, this then begs a series of other questions. How can I be more interested in what I'm already interested in? It's another way of saying the same thing. What are other ways I can think about what I'm doing? My photography. So how do I start this process? And importantly, how do I gain permission to begin these conversations, to even understand how to enter the fray? We're going to look at some case studies as examples of material thinking compared to contextual thinking. So, what does it mean to make a work of art? I've got 4 examples: exhibiting and material thinking, color grading and material thinking, artistic collaboration and material thinking, and university arts education and contextual thinking, fields of creative research. Case study 1, exhibiting and material thinking. Here's a picture of mine. My title is The Site of His Last Embrace. Back in the day, the 8x10 negative, this exhibition print, 40 by 50 inches, was printed in the analog darkroom. But if the wall label was instead the 26th of April, 1986, 202 Normanby Road, South Melbourne, citing that location, the construction of toll roads and freeways, not tombstones, my interpretation, would render it a completely different experience. An external discourse, so image titles are ways of contextualizing what we've done above and beyond the referent, the evidential, factual, external nature. Another image of mine from my analog days, color grading and material thinking. My title is The Poverty of Desire. Let's jump to 3D Look Creator. And I want to continue with its color grading, because after all, this has come from a black and white negative. In 3D Look Creator, we've got all of this physical, technical representation of vector scope. There are all the pixels distributed through color space. Now, a classic facility in 3D Look Creator is holding down the Alt key, so I can see contiguous areas within the image and where they occur over here on the vector scope. Or I can hold down the Alt key and click on individual nodes to show those elements. But through engaging with one aspect of the process, I realize that's a really interesting way of also working out how many nodes I need on a spline to achieve the effect. My default 16 by 16 node points on a grid, why don't I reduce that to 64? Because less grid nodes enable me to drag all of those values in one go, before and after, before and after. And I came to that realization through the process, the act of interacting with my image. A third case study, artistic collaboration and material thinking. Here's a paper. It's freely available. Go to our website, under words, under our essays, there is this paper. It's about the work I did with a dear friend, Robert Bazenko, over a 12-month period and 12 exhibitions where I was responsible for remastering and restaging his beautiful, unique and sensuous codolith prints. And I point out, collaborative works, in this sense, are an exercise in creative research, in the production of meaning that comes from within, where collaborative endeavors offer evidence and faith in the idea that making a work of art beyond its sheer personal necessity is an act worthy of sharing. So I offer this paper as an account of material thinking that has come out of collaboration with another artist on the remastering of his remarkable images that were exhibited one after another, month after month, at the Australian Centre of Photography in Sydney. And that discussion that took place between the original emanation and my remastered, reconsidered creation, and the material thinking, the conversation, the discussion, the findings, the understandings are documented in this essay, if that is an example that interests you. Now, I promised I wouldn't leave you without references. And the fourth case study, university arts education and contextual thinking, not material thinking, contextual thinking. Liz Wells, now Professor Emeritus in Photographic Culture at the University of Plymouth. This is the first introductory textbook I know of that went out of its way to examine key debates in photographic theory and to place them in their social and political contexts. It's a critical introduction, and it's filled with all sorts of case studies, incredibly famous photographs, as you can see, Dorothea Lange. And there's pictures in here, obviously, because it's about placing those pictures into external context, kicking and dragging them out of their materiality into something else. But if you want to take this way of thinking about those differences between the way we work, the way we think within and because of, and as a result of the creation of our works of art, our material thinking, and understanding them against contextual or comparative thinking, Paul Carter and Liz Wells, I couldn't think of more foundational texts as the well springs of us beginning to formalize these distinctions within the world of contemporary art to help us better conceive of our priorities, those distinctions, cares and concerns that matter most to us, and therefore enable us to be even more interested in what interests us about what it is we're doing, not just how we're doing it, but ways of thinking about it above and beyond what we have already brought to the task. And as always, with that, we wish you all the best with your adventures in this world of digital imaging and contemporary art, and in particular, how you go about expanding upon your engagement with what it is you're already doing, and what you choose to then value and exercise and develop about what it is you are already doing, already thinking, already engaging with, so that we then have the ability to not just have meaning assigned from the outside to what we're doing, but that wellspring coming out of the work of art through the very process of its making, its creation, the material thinking associated with us doing what we do. It's a wonderful adventure for those who are interested in such things. We wish you all the best as always. Take care. Don't be strangers. See you soon.